Andrew's requested me on Patreon to review the crime movie The Usual Suspects. This is essentially the movie that put director Bryan Singer and screenwriter Christopher McQuarrie on the map and has become highly revered. To be honest, this is a movie I've tried to enjoy a few times, but it always left me feeling cold. I would come back to it hoping my opinion would slide closer to the consensus, but it's just not a movie that lands with me. But that's okay. Everyone has that widely acclaimed movie that they just have trouble connecting with, and The Usual Suspects happens to be that for me. So I guess this is going to be my I did not care for The Godfather moment. My biggest problem I have with the movie is with the characters, who I personally don't find all that interesting. None of them develop into intriguing personalities that stand out, and so it's difficult for me to care about the crime they get involved in. Funnily enough, even Benicio del Toro, when he read the script, felt his character was just there to be killed off, and so came up with his unintelligible speaking style to make him stand out a bit more. The other actors also give it a game shot, but I never found myself invested in their story or what happens to them. The story is mostly constructed through a series of flashbacks told by verbal Kint as he's being interrogated, which is a classic film noir trope. However, much like his fellow criminals, Kint is not a character I found to be particularly interesting. Curiously, the one person I do think brings an intriguing presence is Keyser Soze. The film does succeed in bringing an air of mystery about him and showing how he becomes this almost mythological figure in the criminal underworld who scares many a thief. On the first viewing, that is that curiosity over who this Keyser Soze is and what makes him such an imposing figure. There's a reason the marketing campaign was centered around this mystery. However, most of the time the focus is on these criminals who just feel like plot devices rather than fully fleshed out individuals. As a result, I find the film as a whole to be a bit of a slog to get through as Kint recounts the story. Something else I will compliment the movie on is the score by John Ottman. It's an appropriate fit for the movie and has almost a Bernard Herrmann sound to it. At this point, it's difficult not to talk about the movie without bringing up the ending. So for those who've not watched The Usual Suspects, I'll be going to spoilers now. Just thought I would give a warning. Okay, so the big twist of the movie is that verbal Kint is secretly Keyser Soze, and just about everything he was telling the federal agent was a complete lie. He was basically an unreliable narrator, and all the flashbacks we witnessed did not actually happen, or at least not the way he told it. On the one hand, this is kind of a subversion of mystery stories, as the entire time we're trying to hunt for clues based on the scenes shown to us and figure out who Soze is. Even the agent tells Kint who he thinks the man is based on the story told him. So often in detective stories, they'll usually take whatever they're told as evidence unless proven otherwise. On the other hand, the flashbacks being something that Kint has improvised on the spot based on various objects in the office feels like the rug being completely pulled out from under the audience. It also means that nothing we watch from the time Kint sat down onwards actually matters. I think knowing this twist hurts the movie on repeat viewings in my opinion, because knowing Kint is just fabricating his interrogation makes me even less invested in what happens. There's no thrill or excitement generated by this crime because so much has been made up on the fly by Kint. I know I'm criticizing a lot of The Usual Suspects, but I don't think it's a bad movie. Bryan Singer does direct it with a decent amount of skill, and while he has been rightfully condemned for his behavior on film sets and off, he has made a number of movies I've liked. And when he would actually show up to work and not force the producers to ghost direct for him, he has been shown to be a filmmaker capable of making worthwhile films. Watching The Usual Suspects again did make me reflect on something. A lot of people say the most important part of any movie is the story, but I would argue that just as pivotal to making a compelling movie are the characters. Because if I don't find the characters to be all that interesting, then I'm going to have difficulty getting invested in the story they're a part of. And that's my biggest hurdle with this film. These individual criminals are not ones I find to be particularly intriguing, and as a result, the crime they're participating in is one where I don't care about the outcome one way or the other. So that's my controversial opinion on The Usual Suspects. I'm sure there'll be plenty who disagree with me on this, so if you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for the request, Andrew.